My name is Gina McKean, and I'm here on behalf of the Capital Baptist Association to kind of help us all address the question that weighs heavy on our hearts. When and how do we open up our preschool and children's buildings? When is the appropriate time? What do we need to do to be ready? So as we think about that, here are some verses that I felt like the Lord brought to my mind and to my heart. The first one I actually read this morning in my quiet time. It was Proverbs 18:10, and it says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are protected." And I just feel like the decisions that we're making, if we take them to Him, He will guide us in the things that we're going to be doing. James 1:5-7, in the Message says, "If you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father. He loves to help. You'll get His help when you ask for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought." I love those words in the Message. And then finally, Proverbs 3:5-6. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your pathways straight." So as we think about those verses, it's obvious that if we're going to trust God and talk to Him daily about our cares and our concerns, He's going to direct our paths, and He's going to provide helpful information to help us make the decisions that are going to affect our children and their families. So we're going to look through some information to assist all of us really in our ministry teams in making the best decisions for our church. And so we've gleaned a lot of information from a lot of resources that we pray will assist you as you make decisions for your church as well. Each of our churches are uniquely different. We minister to a different type of community all throughout our city. And so we want to think about what it is that will best communicate to our community in helping them to know that we want to provide a safe atmosphere for their children. So the greatest takeaway, I feel like, in this pandemic is not that it has taken away our opportunity to minister to families or to meet in person, but really it has helped us to evaluate how best to reach our community in this new atmosphere that we're in right now. Just thinking about how we're going to reopen our ministry to the children. So it also gives us an opportunity to update our policies and procedures. We just looked at our insurance company. We went to their website and looked through what new procedures they were recommending so that we could adapt that to our policies and procedures. So that would be the first thing that we would recommend that all churches do. Consult your insurance company. Now, another thing that has been provided for churches that use Lifeway material is they have provided a resource. It's a free ebook, and it says it's 6 considerations for reopening your kids' ministry. And along with the ebook, they've also provided some very helpful posters that go along with their recommendations. And so we're going to look at a few of those things, a few of the considerations that they've included in that ebook. So the very first one would be, think about your ministry. Make a list of what it is that you offer to your church, as I did with my church, thinking about the kinds of things that we offer, like Sunday school, extended care, Bible skills, discipleship, missions, new Christians class, other things that are potentially things that we would offer, like parenting classes, all of those things. Think about those, and what are we doing with those? How are we utilizing those? And then, as you think about all of those different things that you currently offer or we're hoping to offer, how does that purpose focus on activities, or is it focused on relationships? Are parents and kids developing relationships with leaders and vice versa? Are your kids getting to know your teachers, and are your teachers getting to know your kids and their parents? Are they gaining skills that enhance their relationship with the Lord and with each other? Those are things that we want to consider as we think about what we are providing in our children's ministry and as we prepare to open up our children's ministry again. Thinking about what you've been through these last few weeks, did you begin an activity or a practice during the quarantine time that you need to continue? Were you providing online resources or lesson activity pages or listening guides for the worship service? Were you providing Bible study or Bible skills or other types of videos that were engaging your kids and their parents? And if you were, are those things that you need to continue to do? So as we contemplate when to reopen, we also want to consider our families that will be attending. Have you surveyed your families to see about their comfort level in returning? We did that, and we were able to use a survey that was provided through Google. It was a very simple process that we could put in questions that we felt pertained to our families, and we could either offer up multiple choice answers, we could offer up yes or no, we could offer up an opportunity for them to give an explanation of how they felt about things. So you can tailor it to fit your church and your particular needs. Have you considered talking to your teachers to see how comfortable they are in returning? Again, the survey is a wonderful tool to use with them as well. And finally, have you considered the space that's going to be required for when you return? If we're going to continue this social distancing, we're going to have to reevaluate the space that we use and to think about how it will accommodate. How many children are we going to be able to put in a particular classroom? And what types of furnishings are going to be necessary? So as we look through all of those types of things, let's think about our space. Let's think about preparing our building. Take a walk around your property. Look at the outside of your building. Look at the inside. Look at each classroom with fresh eyes and look at it from different levels. Get down where you're on a preschool level and look at your classroom. Consider the items that are currently in the room, and are they appealing? Are they things that kids would be engaged with? Are they clean? Are they easy to clean? Those are the things that we want to think about, because it's going to be vitally important that we do a deep cleaning of all of our classrooms and sanitizing each one of those items as well. You see, there's a difference there between a deep clean and sanitizing. A deep clean means that we are actually going to use soap and water, that we're going to remove visible items that we can actually see with our eyes. And then a disinfectant is going to be able to protect that piece from germs and other things in the classroom. So we want to make sure that in each of the classrooms that we're going to be using, that we're going to have adequate hand sanitizer, whether you have the big sanitizer like this, or if you have something that's on the wall where it's easily accessible to your teachers in particular. And thinking about these items, I didn't realize until recently that there is an expiration date on sanitizing. And so you need to make sure that it is still on a good date. We also want to make sure that the furniture that's going to be in our classroom allows adequate space so that children can move around and have that social distancing between them and the next person. So we're going to have to change some of our procedures, the way that we normally do our classrooms. We also want to think about, as we do the deep cleaning in our classrooms, taking the time to clean the carpets right now and to clean those light switches and all the surfaces and every nook and cranny really in the room. And then we want to look and see about simplifying the classrooms. We need to take out things that aren't used on a weekly basis. We also want to think about the items that are going to be hard to keep sanitized. Just put them in storage for now until we go back to what would be considered a normal. As we do those things, though, we also want to make sure that we have gloves. So we'll definitely use gloves as we clean, but as you go from one room to another, or as you change out things, be sure to change your gloves as well. And making sure that We use things that are going to be provided through our janitorial services. This type of product right here was available to us that says specifically that it will kill the germs. It's designed to be protecting against the COVID-19. We have the disinfectant wipes also that we can use to clean some surfaces. And then there are going to be items that you can dilute and spray on items as well. One of the most economical and the most practical and the most efficient is to be able to use Clorox, and using a little bit of the Clorox in your spray bottle. Typically you would use about 4 teaspoons of Clorox in a quart of water. And so you would spray that after you've cleaned things, you would spray that on there, and that would help to keep that sanitized for at least 24 hours. You could also mix up a solution, and especially if you're in a younger preschool room where you have little ones who are picking up the toys and putting them in their mouth and such, that you would keep a solution of bleach water handy so that you could simply pick those toys up when a preschooler has put those down and put them in that bleach solution. And then we have something that is called a drying towel, and this piece right here you could keep on your cabinet. And after you've taken the things out of the bleach solution, then you could lay it on that drying towel, and then as soon as it's had an opportunity to become thoroughly dried, then you could put it back down and let another child play with that. But those are going to be the best options, especially in a younger preschool room. We definitely don't want to put items in the room that are going to be soft, because they're going to be able to soak in those germs. So these types of things we would remove from the classrooms temporarily anyway, and just thinking about how we can best put out toys that are going to be appealing to our little ones, but also safe for them as well. We never want to mix Clorox and any type of ammonia together. Always use only Clorox and water, or any other cleaning supplies. Let's not mix those, because they create some other dangerous types of chemicals, and we certainly don't want to go that route. Some of the other things that we want to consider are taking chairs that have a soft porous type of surface. Take those out of the classroom for now, and just making sure that we have things that are safe for our preschoolers. Also, when we think about when we do some check-in, we would probably want to think about getting some covers for our keyboards. And these little covers are actually designed so that when you order them, they're designed to fit exactly on top of your keyboards. So it's a nice fit, and then you can use wipes to clean off those surfaces as well. And the nice thing is that you can get them for your tablets or for your keyboards or any type of electronic that you're going to be using to check people in. Use an alcohol-based wipe or spray that contains at least 70% alcohol to disinfect the touch screens. Also consider using one person that's going to check everyone in, so that that person is the one who's actually touching all of the devices, and letting the parents know that when they get to your greeting system, that's where their child will be dropped off, and that you will have a volunteer that will take them to their classroom. Also letting those parents know that that same parent is going to be the one who needs to come back and pick up those children. If you're going to have other things like sheets and bedding that you're going to have in your baby room, do not shake them out, but just put them in your hampers and take them safely to your laundry room. That helps to keep down the spreading of the germs as well. When checking in preschoolers, those especially that normally come with a diaper bag, the most safe thing would actually be to provide each parent with like a 2-gallon size Ziploc bag, so that they could put diapers and wipes and other things that they've brought in that bag and not bring in their diaper bag. And certainly we don't want to bring in any of their little toys or dolls or anything like that. That's going to be the safest solution for the kids, the parents, and our classrooms as well. So here's a good rule of thumb actually, is if you have to wear a mask, then probably it's not the best time to open up your preschool and children's building. Okay? And so, because masks can seem kind of scary to preschoolers and children. We actually had an incident at our church when we had our first day of being open where we had everyone in our worship service, and I saw one of our younger preschoolers, and I was waving at him. I had my mask on, and he didn't know who I was, and so I pulled my mask down so I could smile at him and wave, and he smiled back. But it's a little scary. They're not recognizing their teachers with the mask on. So probably if we're having to do that, that means that's not a good time to start bringing our children back into the preschool and children's building. But we also need to think about what's going to be best for all of us, for our volunteers. We want to consider who's going to be working with our preschoolers. If we have volunteers that are over that 65 age and have pre-existing conditions, then maybe now is not the time for them to be coming back, and we are going to need to recruit additional workers, or even have some of our parents that might want to volunteer during this time to kind of rotate through that process. Another consideration, but probably one that's not going to be as easy, is to ask parents to pre-register their children. We know that we're going to have limited space and limited workers, and so if they want to pre-register their children so that we know who is going to be coming and we can have the rooms ready accordingly, having even their little tickets, their little claim checks, so to speak, ready for them when they come. Again, thinking about not allowing the parents to come in to the children's portion of the building, but just having a greeter there to welcome them and to take their child to the classroom. We also want to develop a list of procedures for our volunteers, helping them to understand this is what's going to be required when you work in a classroom, and having that checklist of knowing what things need to be cleaned and what resources are available to them to clean the items in the classroom, and helping to train our workers either through a Zoom meeting or sending them the paperwork that helps them to understand what's going to be required. Communication is key, helping to keep our parents updated on what it is that our plans involve for the days and weeks ahead, what we are doing right now to protect their children, how we're getting our space ready. If we let our congregation know what we're doing, they're going to be excited in the fact that we have taken it very seriously about our plans and preparation for their children coming back into the preschool and children's building. We want to use words like clean and safe and mindful of health issues and preparing for a non-touch experience, something similar to those words. Also, we want to make sure that we let parents know that if their child is sick or has been sick in the last 24 hours, please do not bring them to the children's building. The same thing is true, though, for our volunteers. We have to be very mindful of those things, especially now. We also want to remember, if we're going to have multiple services of worship and we're going to be providing extended care during that time, then we're going to need to allow time to clean our rooms before we allow new children to come in. There are many, many things that are available to help us to understand how we need to plan and prepare. One of the resources in Kids Ministry 101 that's provided through Lifeway are a lot of helpful resources that we can pull out. There's a DVD included in this booklet with resources that you can print out for your parents and for your teachers. Also, what I had mentioned before in the 6 considerations for reopening your kids ministry, there are so many elements in this resource that will help you to think about what it is that you need to do in preparation for opening your building. And then, as I mentioned before, there's the second resource that's available also that has the posters that you can put up around your building. Again, these are things that are going to be helpful to convey to parents how serious you take reopening your children's building. And I guarantee you that as you do that, it's going to help parents to feel more comfortable when they do bring their children. So finally, I would want to utilize this verse as a source of inspiration as we move forward. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fearfulness, but one of power and of love and of sound judgment." You see, that's our prayer for all of us, really, as we plan and prepare with love and sound judgment. So God bless you as you plan and prepare to open your children's building. And also I wanted to let you know that we'll have some resources available on the Capital Baptist Association website that you can download that has all of this information and much, much more. God bless you.